Welcome everyone to episode 17 of X to Interact. They say a podcast a week is the ritual to keep the demons asleep. Here with me to perform the ritual, we have Eric,
Hello.
Gaff,
So,
and myself, Steven. For this episode, we've got video game news to stave off the blues. Then together, we'll make a video game cookbook and decide what we want to eat from it. And then get some insight into a little bit of like Canadian culture. We'll just kind of be doing like an interview with Gaff here, and he'll fill us in on a little bit of what he knows about some of those things. And well, why do you ask? Well, because I said so. But before that, remember if you are listening or watching, you can help us out by rating, leaving a comment, and most importantly, subscribing. We're on YouTube, we're on wherever you get your podcasts, and soon to be more. So just keep an eye on our Twitter. That's X to Interact, all caps _ for all the exciting things we're doing. If you have feedback or suggestions or even a question, feel free to send us an email at x2interactpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's x2interactpodcast@gmail.com. And first we have Arc on it. So let's kick it over to you with Valve announcing their new handheld portable gaming system, the Steam Deck. And I'll let you take it away, Eric.
Yeah, so I think it was like what, Tuesday morning, was it? That
I think so.
that the so it's a really funny story. So Nintendo put out their pre-orders for the Switch OLED, and then Valve comes and is like, "You guys want a Switch Pro? Bam, here it is. Here's your Switch Pro."
Yeah, like take that, Nintendo. Jeez.
Yeah, sure. But have you guys like looked into the specs or anything for this thing? Because honestly, it's pretty interesting, I'd say.
I think they're taking a loss on it in some regards, for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
didn't the
so
Valve guy himself say that pricing of this thing was very painful but necessary?
Yeah, I think Gabe Newell was mentioning, um, the 399 price point in particular was like, it was very painful, but to be competitive, right? And I think they don't mention the Switch OLED or the Switch at all, but that's where they're trying to compete. So, and granted, it's a
mm,
different thing, right? You've got PC in portable rather than just like Nintendo stuff, but um, I do think you are competing in the handheld market at the very least. So that was kind of a nod there, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, before we get to like all the details and stuff in that, I don't think it's necessarily competing with Nintendo because Nintendo does their own things really, and if you're buying a Switch, you're most likely buying it for Nintendo games.
Very true.
Yeah, and I don't really think this is gonna hurt in the Switch's sales necessarily, but I do think it is like I think it's a good thing that we're having more handhelds on the market because to be honest, that's like Nintendo's territory, and like they haven't really gone unchallenged in that space for a long time. Like Sony tried with the PSP and the Vita, but we all know how that turned out.
Of yeah,
Well, the PSP was great. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the end of that statement.
yeah, for sure. But I do like how we're seeing more competition, I guess, even though it's different markets.
Sure.
Yeah, different markets. But and also, bad day to announce something that says Steam Deck when
Right.
Elgato was having their new Stream Deck
Yeah.
announced that same day.
Oh, really?
Rip off that one.
Yeah, there was like a
Oh
lot of
man.
Elgato products coming out that day. So there's Steam Deck, Stream Deck, and then Nintendo Switch OLED in around that day. So it's a lot of stuff going on that day. But anyways, let's get to the tech specs. So we got
It's juicy.
yeah, it's pretty juicy. We had an AM for the processor. We got an AMD APU, and like an APU, I guess it's like kind of like a CPU and GPU in one. So for the CPU side, it's a Zen 2 4-core 8-thread processor, 2.4 to 3.5 gigahertz. I don't know if it's like too nerdy for you guys or whatever, but
Now
I'm
people
like
like
a
to hear
little
that,
bit
Eh.
dude.
on that side of the yeah, I'm definitely like on that side of the tech specs. The GPU, it's 8 RN I think it's yeah, an 8-core RDNA 2 CUs. I think it's compute units with 1.0 to 1.6 gigahertz. The APU power is 4 to 15 watts. The RAM is 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 on board. Storage wise, it's 64 gigabytes eMMC for the lowest tier,
Mhm.
256 gigabytes even NVMe SSD for like the mid tier, then 512 gigabyte a higher speed NVMe for the top of the line model. Got your basic buttons, you know, A, B, X, Y, D-pad, LNR buttons,
course.
which those buttons don't look that comfortable at all.
They're so high up.
Yeah, that's really high up. We'll get to that later though. The display is 1280 by 800 pixels, so not 1080p, more like around a little higher than 720.
Yeah.
7-inch diagonal. Yeah. 400 nits brightness, 60 hertz refresh rate, touchscreen enabled. Bluetooth 5.0.
Multi-faceted touch.
That's
Yeah,
a big thing.
well,
With
I
two
think the Switch,
fingers.
I'm pretty sure, does that too. Every like
Does it?
touchscreen nowadays is like that. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, standard stuff. Bluetooth 5.0, dual band Wi-Fi radio, audio.
USB-C.
Yep. About to get to
That
that right now.
yep.
So USB-C, 45 watt USB-C power supply. Battery life is a 40 watt per hour battery. 2 to 8 hours of gameplay. That's okay, I guess.
I mean, it's a
You can't
PC,
expand the
right?
storage. Yeah, exactly. I don't think these games are gonna be optimized for it unless maybe some devs will do it, but we'll have to see. You can expand the storage with an SD card, and like you guys said earlier, you can use USB-C. They have a dock for it, but you can also use any powered USB-C dock on the market, so you can just get one off of Amazon or anything like that. Um, on the website, they have it in grams and millimeters, but this is a 298 millimeters by 117 millimeters by 49 millimeters, and the weight is 669 grams. So we got all that
How
stuff
big is
there,
the
you know.
Switch?
I'm pretty sure it's
Let
bigger
me
than
just
the
look that
Switch.
up.
It's a chunky boy, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then it runs Steam OS, but they also said you can like side load Windows on it or anything like that. So you
Oh,
so this
it,
is basically a PC, just in a handheld, you know.
it, can you reread the weight again?
The weight, sure. Let me go back to that real quick.
It's a beefy boy.
I think it was 669 grams.
600. Okay.
Yeah,
I
we
think
filthy
this.
Americans don't know grams, you know.
So the Switch, I believe, is in the 200s, isn't it? From what I remember hearing, is around that.
399 grams.
Okay. So definitely chunkier.
Well,
For sure.
yeah.
But yeah, I like. Let me go back to the software specs real quick. Yeah, it comes with SteamOS. Like I said, you can side load Windows on it. You probably don't want to do that on the 64 gigabyte model because you would probably have no storage at all. But this thing is like really compelling, to be honest. Like, sure, it's a
This
little
is really neat
powered
spec.
compared to like PCs, like a desktop PC, but like this thing outclasses the Switch like a whole ton. This is
Yep.
like your Switch Pro right here. Sure, it might be uncomfortable, but this thing they showed Jedi Fallen Order running at this thing, and I can't imagine that game at all running on a Switch.
2 hours. 2 hours battery life on that with that game.
For
It's
sure.
gonna scald your hands as you play it.
But I think depending on what games you want to play on it, this is great. I think obviously depending on like the type of gamer you are, this could be like the new indie machine because you know indies probably are usually first and cheaper on Steam than on the Switch.
Yeah, you have a
Plus
bunch of
the
the Steam sales. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, plus the dock, you can like use any dock. You don't have to buy Steam's dock at all. This is and like you can like plug in keyboard and mouse and everything like that. Any other peripherals. This is very interesting. Like if I didn't already have a gaming PC with a 570 with a RX 570 XT or whatever the fuck it is, then then I would
PC guy
totally
here.
get one because honestly I've been thinking about like downsizing my PC a lot. I've been thinking about maybe I should just get like a gaming laptop for gaming and a MacBook for work. But like yeah, gaming laptops, their fans are like very, very loud. The battery lives are not good. Now
Get
that's not
super
saying
hot.
this thing has a great battery life. Yeah, not saying this thing has a better battery life than that, but just the form factor of it. If like I can dock it to play on my desk, and if I want to play in bed, just take it out undocked. That's a great like thing to do. Like
Well,
and play games the Switch can't. Like
So
if I got this, I would run Windows on it and play Final Fantasy
I
14.
was gonna say,
That's for sure.
what's the one game you would play from your Steam library or whatever PC platform? Because I'm sure you can load other apps on it as well.
Yeah, they mentioned like Epic Game Store and Origin and stuff like that
Yeah,
too.
and you're gonna have native stuff on that just because they want it to succeed. So they'll probably work with a lot of
For
that.
sure.
Um, so you said like Final Fantasy 14 is the one you would choose?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 and just Game Pass PC in general.
Oh yeah, that's a
yeah.
backlog machine, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Gaff, do you have
Like
one?
you wouldn't need you wouldn't need to use xCloud. You can just natively install the games.
Yeah.
Granted,
True.
it's 720p, but like this is a handheld. You don't really need higher than that unless you want to like a 1 hour battery life.
Mm,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think the Steam Deck is a fantastic idea. It's very provides a very interesting competition to the Switch. Because yeah, why would you buy any third-party game on the Switch now? Now that you have a Steam Deck, right? It won't be gimped as much on the Switch. Um, and if you're really into this stuff, then you can just put an emulator on your Steam Deck, and then you can play old Nintendo games on it, or even like current Nintendo games. Like you can play Breath of the Wild at 60 FPS if you really want to figure all that computer stuff out. So this better this better make Nintendo wake up and start realizing that people are going to be eating into their territory with this Steam Deck. I will say though, time will tell how popular this machine is. Um, like how many people will forego their Switch for Steam Deck because I guarantee you that a lot of people that care about games already have a Switch.
right.
Um, and still, what's very important is battery life. I'm very, very skeptical about and support. How our game is going to run on this. Yeah, they should have Jedi Fallen Order. What about Battlefield 2042? Or the next Call of Duty? How's that going to go?
I imagine those are not going to run very well on it. However, I'm going to say that for those higher end games, you're going to just go to your PC, right?
Yeah.
And this will be more like a uh again, like a backlog machine, right? For last gen games or lower spec games, a lot of indie designs. This seems like positioned directly to the people who are like, man, I want to play Stardew Valley for 10 hours in my bed on something that's not going to lag. Or let's say something a little better. Let's say like Path of Exile. You know, those kind of things where it's not as weak as the Switch, so you won't get the stuttering that you see in a lot of games. But at the same token, I don't think you're going to be running Cyberpunk on it, right? So that's remains to be
Yeah.
seen unless they have a better, because they have the, can't you stream games from your Steam?
Yeah.
And I imagine that's going to be maybe a solution for people who are probably in the market for this machine, right? They probably already have the higher spec PC. They probably have the decent internet for things like this anyways, so um and you're seeing it go crazy for pre-orders, so I don't imagine that's going to be like a problem, is what I mean.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
also, what's great for this machine versus the Switch is the third-party support, right? Nintendo's so anal about having only Nintendo things working with their products, but here you can have any company manufacture a dock or a new accessory, and
That's
it could
very
work
true.
great or could not.
We talk about the fact that you could have native Discord on there, the fact that you
Yep.
could have you have Bluetooth headset support, all like anything you could probably get with a peripherals for like a PC, you'll probably see with this might be compatible. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and since it's
Yeah.
your Steam library, you don't have to rebuy games, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
and like
it's huge
that,
actually.
yeah, that coupled with Steam sales, you know, you're gonna get, if like this is a like somewhere you play a lot, you're gonna get like a lot of nice deals on Steam. You know, 'cause they always have like their summer and winter sales. You can get games for very cheap on there. This thing has like already has like the biggest library out of almost any system out there already, just because of Steam.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Um, any more thoughts on that, guys? I'm excited for it though. So
Yeah, I want to wait for reviews to see like how it is before I get one. But even if I do decide to get one, pre-orders are probably backed up for a while.
and I was looking.
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday. The two lower models, um, were estimated because you can reserve it, but it's just going to be way out, right?
Yeah,
Those ones were Q3 2022.
yeah, that's
Oh.
and
Yeah,
I don't know if any stores are gonna have these in stock. I think this is maybe for now Valve just selling them.
yeah. But the way they're handling it is kind of awesome, in my opinion. At least that part. I know it's like a whole rabbit hole, but you can at least reserve it and they'll give you an estimated time when you're actually going to get one rather than fighting scalpers and stuff to try to find the overpriced ones. You
Yeah,
know, at some point you're going to be getting one. You just may have to wait because you're further in line, which is a way better way to handle this release of this thing, in my opinion.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait to see the reviews on how it actually pans out, but if it's good, I might actually get one. So
Yeah, I've seen people online like say this is like the Swiss Army knife handheld for like just gaming and like PC gaming in general because you're gonna have Steam on there, you can have Origin, you can have Epic, you can have Windows, Xbox Game Pass, you can have emulators and all that in that tiny little package.
and it's got like mouse pads on the side. I don't know how that's
Yeah,
actually
like
going to
the
work,
track,
but
the
Yeah.
touchpads or whatever for like mouse controls and stuff like that. Yeah. So
so you
this
can have
thing is
some.
it's like very interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, FPSs are going to be a little better on that thing for sure, because
Yeah.
that's one weakness I have with the Switch in particular, because I like FPS, so it's super hard for me to play in any competitive way on the Switch unless you're using like the motion, which not every game
Hmm.
supports. So
Yeah, and that's what this has too. It has like gyroscope built in and stuff like
oh,
that.
that's actually really
Nice.
cool.
Oh yeah, like this thing has like a lot of like inputs, so you can like really customize this as much as you want, which I guess is fitting for PC gaming. You know?
Yeah, very exciting stuff, dudes. But I think we're going to move on to the next news article here that we have. This comes from PC Gamer, and this is kind of all over the place, but this is just where I picked from Steven Messner at PC Gamer. Warframe is getting crossplay and cross save across all platforms, and is also coming to mobile. Um, so this came from TennoCon 2021, and if you don't know, if you haven't heard of Warframe, it's just your space ninjas playing with your friends, blowing stuff up and slicing them. Kind of the long story short. It's a really cool game, but it's important to me because I have tried to get into this game many, many different times, and I really like it. And I spend like I'll get into it on my Xbox for like 30 hours, right? And then I'll be like, all right, well, I don't want to really play it again, and then I'll check on my PC to because that's where my friends are at, and no, you start from the beginning, and there's no cross save, so you can't carry your progress and all your cosmetics and stuff that you're paying a good amount of money for don't go with as it currently stands. So this is really huge for me, and I guess they were breaking a bunch of concurrency records for their game when they were doing this stream, just from all the hype. So it's really cool to see. This game came out, I believe, in 2014, around when maybe a little earlier, around with the PS4 launch.
Yeah, I remember. I think that like 2013 actually, somewhere around there,
Yeah,
like late 2013. I remember downloading and playing through Warframe at the time because like there was really nothing on the PS4 to play at that time. It was a very barren launch, that's for sure, and
Yep.
it it was okay for a launch
Yeah.
title game around there. It wasn't great, but I
It's
know like they've improved it since because I have like a lot of friends who play it and like it's good. And I
it's
played
wild,
it
man.
again like a year or two ago, and it was
Yeah.
like a lot better.
Yeah. You check it out now. There's so much to do. Like I don't know how they make it all work the way they do, and as well as it does, the game runs super great. It's cool seeing it on mobile. So the way they did it, so they
Yeah,
have
how does
like
that work?
so they had all of them. You see, you link your account like you would like a Fortnite, right?
Hmm.
And I guess all of your friends from the platforms, like whatever platform, because it searches on all of them. Uh, I guess because it's linked, right? You can add them again or just bring them in. They were sending live party invites to people. Like they started on mobile, which actually looked like it ran pretty well. Then they brought in Switch, which was chugging, which unfortunate for them, but kind of expected at this point. And then they obviously brought in the other two, and it was kind of a really big thing at the time if you were watching live because nobody knew that it was coming. So um, here it says, after years of fans begging for it, Warframe is finally getting crossplay and cross saves, meaning its player base will no longer be separated by what console they're playing on. And it also means their updates are going to be simultaneous. So previously, before they were releasing the PC builds, and then they were releasing the all the other console builds periodically, like some months down the line. And apparently now
Yeah,
they're going to be releasing all the builds of the game simultaneously because you have to have the comparable experience to have the crossplay. So maybe that's why getting those in line was probably higher to do. It says it was never a guarantee that Warframe would eventually have it. Back in 2019, the creative director Steve Sinclair explained it was one of the highest risk things digital extremes could do. So they hinted at it back in there, but they're never guaranteed it because they're like it's a huge undertaking. So this is real big, and um, I don't know. It's just exciting for me because I try to recommend this game to people, but it's like, well, what platform do you play on? Do you play on PC or do you play here? And we can't play together, and it's the whole thing. But this will be huge. I've been into this game for a long time, and um, I think that people are gonna really enjoy, especially mobile, right? Because it's a free to play game. That's gonna be a huge player base they're gonna get, and uh, honestly, they've been doing some really cool stuff in the space to begin with. So I'm happy to see that they finally reached multiplayer standards in 2021, right? At least in my opinion.
for sure.
Do you guys, Gaff? Do you have any take on this or experience with Warframe at all?
No, I got one friend that really loved it, and he still kind of cares about it, but that's all I got for Warframe.
Yeah, and I guess this came along with the news of their penultimate like expansion. Like they've been building up this narrative for like a couple years now. I think it's called the New War or the End War. Sorry. So they're going to be hand in hand, and there's I don't know. It's an exciting time to be a Warframe fan, at least for me. So um, that'll be really exciting when that comes. I believe they are saying this fall. They didn't give a hard date, to my understanding, but they were saying the fall. So, um, and then we'll kick it to Gaff. You wanna give us your story here?
Yep. Late last week, Battlefield 2042 put some more details about their upcoming game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the most exciting piece of information for me, and I'm glad to see it finally confirmed that next gen and PC will have crossplay and cross progression, and then the last gen consoles, your PS4 and Xbox One, they'll have their own crossplay, but it'll be two separate pools of players. So your friends on PS5 and the Series X cannot play with your friends on PS4 and Xbox One. Makes sense because you have two entirely different player counts. I can't really see it working any other way. Maybe we'll figure out in the future, but for now, this is the way it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the details. So they're getting rid of the class system, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the 4 classes were assault, medic, engineer, and was it sniper support? I
Support,
don't
yeah,
know.
I
support.
think it was support. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so instead of those, we're gonna have 10 specialists to replace the classes. And each specialist is like your it's a person, it's like a hero in Rainbow Six, for example. And each one will have their own unique traits and specialties. For example, there's this one called Falk, and she's able to revive your players to full health. You'll have no more weapon restrictions. So there's no weapon that only the assault class can use or the medic can use. And I think that's pretty good because in the past, players would only pick a class just for that gun because it was obviously the best gun, and they would not play the role. So you have medics not reviving players, you have engineers uh, not blowing up tanks. Um, so I'm kind of glad for this. So it lets people actually play the roles and still have the best gun available to them. Then they also said there's going to be 7 new maps, which is great. And one small piece of news that I guess is pretty neutral is it'll be online only. So even though you can have a match with online bots, even though you can have a match with AI, you still need an internet connection. But it's 2021, everyone has internet connection, so I don't see that as a big deal. Um, I love all this, all good news. Crossplay is great because all my friends are more than likely playing on a PC. I'm the only person playing on a console, so I'm glad I'm being left out of my friend group. How do you guys feel?
I'm excited to see how crazy this gets. I'm excited that they're gonna backfill with bots because that was in prior titles. That's always been a sticking point. Is like, hopefully they backfill with bots, and then when people join, they just put real people in their place. I'm assuming that's how it's gonna work. That'll be awesome for queue times because you can just get right into
Yeah,
it. I think it was Battlefield 1 and 5 kind of had longer queue times, and I think just because they had the large player base to try to fill in the maps. Um, and you know, a couple months out from launch, you were forced to wait like 3 or 4 minutes for a queue to try to get into a game, which is hard for any multiplayer game. So it's cool that they're having this. Really cool that they're having the crossplay. Kind of sucks that you have the 2 separated pools, but I get it based on the tech specs of these
yeah,
2 different pools, right? You're working with completely different beats of machines, so it wouldn't be really competitive. Uh, if you're bunching them all together, it would just be kind of chaos. I think, in a bad way. Uh, this seems like chaos in a good way. Uh, Online only, again, not a big deal. They're hyper focusing on the multiplayer for this one, so cool to see that they're doing that and they have everyone on board. I guess. I don't know, man. The one thing that has really gotten me still is the $70 price tag still, with multiplayer only, which I guess you could get past if the game is good enough, right? The proof will be in the pudding, I guess, when they're going to do their technical test, which they delayed recently, right?
I don't know, but I guess you're right.
Yeah, I just think it's hard to see until we actually have it in our hands, you know? Because they're propping it up as this huge, crazy experience, this huge dynamic experience, and while we can rely on trailers a little bit for it, I still haven't got a whole grasp on what it's actually going to translate to when I'm with my friend. And am I going to just feel like I'm spawning and dying, you know? I'm spawning and dying and then running for, I don't know, 5 minutes or so to get to somewhere. I really hope they streamline some of those things to kind of modernize and bring it in line so a lot more people can get
Yeah.
involved, because I do like and appreciate the Battlefield games a lot, and I'm hoping they can kind of get back to where it was with 4. So
For sure. 4 was like the one I played a lot, especially during the PS4 launch. I think that was like one of the. Oh, obviously after they fixed all the server issues and stuff, but I think that was like one of the more fun games to play during the launch. And I'm excited for this one. I didn't really enjoy Battlefield 1 and 5. 'Cause I guess it was the World War setting that I guess didn't vibe with me. But this new modern one is looking my cup of tea. But like we'll have to see because it is $70 like you said, and we got like a lot of stuff coming out this fall too. Like Halo's gonna be free to play. Call of Duty's gonna do whatever they have, but they still have Warzone and stuff like that. And then earlier today, Ubisoft announced X Defiant, which we'll see how that game turns out.
Woo.
I don't think that game's gonna make a splash,
Sure.
but that's also gonna be free to play. So Battlefield has like an uphill battle for being $70.
So
I got a good feeling about Battlefield. It feels like the way everyone online is talking about it, the way all my friends are talking about it. I think Battlefield is going to have the clout it needs for everyone to love it. I just got a feeling.
here's
Yeah, for
hoping,
sure.
man.
I don't think it'll do bad. It's just I don't think it might have the the big player base that all the free to play games have.
In a vacuum, I could see this game blowing up, but because of the market it's releasing in and the time frame it's coming around, it's gonna have an uphill battle to see. I don't know, to see if it can attract players, because you have the price entry point, you have the last few titles which weren't super popular multiplayer wise, um, uh, but there's a lot more hype around it this time. I have seen, even in people who don't game that much, like, man, I'm excited for Battlefield, the next one. So we'll see, man. I am with you, Gaff. I really do think that it could be something cool. I think Gaff might be frozen.
Oh boy.
While he's frozen in time, we'll try to thaw some things out and move on to the next topic. So we're gonna start off a little bit. I'm gonna try to buy some time here, but what?
Are we gonna talk about what I put in earlier that you skipped over?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Go ahead.
There.
Doesn't
I'm
have to
excited
be
for
too
Persona
long.
2, okay? Don't worry.
So I'm gonna quickly shout out the Persona 25th anniversary. I know I
Woo!
talk about Persona a lot on here, but like
No,
this is
man.
I'm
the
with you.
25th
I'm
anniversary.
with you.
Atlas is teasing 7 new projects. That's a lot of projects. One of them is seemingly gonna be Persona 6. Who knows?
Who knows, man?
Um,
I don't.
Maybe
these announcements are gonna. Oh, go ahead.
maybe 6 merchandise things, or sorry, 5 merchandise things, 1 anime spin-off, and then Persona 6.
All right, yeah. To be fair, I'm not expecting games to be all of them. I'm thinking
Mhm.
Persona 6 is obviously going to be the last one. Um, these announcements they're going to start this year, September 2021, and go until I think it's just autumn next year.
Okay.
And yeah, obviously they're not all going to be games, but they did put out like a merchandise set tease or whatever with like all the pictures of all the protagonists and one that says secret. So that's like the big one fueling speculation. Um, they also have like acrylic stands for like all the games, like Persona, the 2 games, and all that. And then they also have like 2 secret slots in that too. So I'm like, so we'll be getting at least 2 games. It seems like
I could see
one of
that.
them Persona 6, the other one we got no
Persona
idea.
5
Could be
Arena.
anything.
Oh,
See, I'm thinking
Persona 4 Arena Ultimate.
Ultimax.
yes. So personally, what I want, Persona 6, obviously, one more Persona 5 spin-off, like a send-off or whatever, and some sort of Persona 3 remake or definitive edition. Just give me it, please. I know Persona 1 and 2 needed a lot, and I would totally play that if they remade it. But like Persona 3 is like stuck in this weird limbo where there's 2 versions of it, but neither are really the definitive edition. One has better things that the other version does, and they both have their downsides. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want a version that like combines them both together and like fixes the issues of that game as well. But yeah, other than that, I really don't know what the other 7 other announcements could be. Like you said, like it could be an anime.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be super down
It'd
for
be
Persona 5 Royal, the animation, because the Persona 5 anime kind of sucked,
yes.
and I think
They
Royal, the
did the same
content of
thing with
Royal anyway is good,
yeah. They did the
really good.
same thing with Persona 4. They had the base Persona 4 anime, and then the Persona 4 Golden anime,
Well,
which
the
is
golden
basically
anime
just the newest
sucked.
stuff.
The golden anime sucked ass, but the Persona 4 anime is it's like it's the funniest thing in the world. You
Comedy
have to
gold,
watch
right?
it.
It's
Yeah.
comedy gold. But
um,
yeah, I can see them doing a royal anime. Maybe a localization of the Persona 3 movies. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I really don't know. Maybe I can see like maybe one of the announcements being merchandise. That's highly plausible.
yeah. It'd be well, first I think it's cool that they acknowledge the existence of Persona 1 and 2 because they never do that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, how about one of their announcements is they bring the Persona concert to the West? That'd be
So
cool.
funny you
If,
say
if,
that because earlier today there was a news story that came out from Persona Central saying that just General Atlas has 10 titles in development. First of all, which is huge, a lot, and then they wanted to bring the Persona events overseas. So I'm hoping it's like those concerts because I watched the one in 2019 where they announced Royal, and that was a great event. Like
yeah,
Dude,
I watched it,
it,
it was
that was
so
hype as
hype.
fuck.
Yeah, it
That was
was
hype.
really hype. Just seeing
they've
everyone get excited for the new game announcements was crazy.
the music from those is phenomenal. So going to like a live production of it would be amazing. So
Yeah, I would definitely want to go to that. Like I want to go. Like I was thinking about, oh maybe I should go to Japan for one, but apparently it's
hmm
like pretty hard to do.
yeah.
And we,
Yeah.
like how times are now, it's kind of hard to do anyway. So I'd love to go to one.
And they'll never come to Canada, so I hope it'll be like New
No,
York
no.
or something. Something that's like
It'll probably
relatively
be New
closer.
York. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Maybe in the future when that happens, we'll be able to meet up and we'll just go. We'll just go to the concert.
Yeah, with jammed Persona. Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, the 25th anniversary. Oh, excuse me. The 25th anniversary for Persona is looking to be like a big one, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited for the announcements.
Me too. I'm excited for this next thing too. I think you will be.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a
Like
cookbook
like I,
together, dude.
real quick, like I put in the doc, I'm a Persona shill slash fanboy.
Yeah.
And
We
maybe
got
think
that.
of some persona recipes to put in this. Go ahead, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, what? Oh, like
Well,
no, I thought we were gonna transition to the main
No,
topic now. I'm all
okay,
set.
great. Okay, so this section is our main topic, and we're gonna make a video game cookbook together. I thought it'd be kind of cool to just kind of spitball and brainstorm. I know we have a few suggestions on the doc, but I was gonna kind of do mine off the cuff to see like what we could come up with in terms of things that would be appetizing that may or may not exist, but we want to include in like our personal X to interact uh, gaming cookbook extraordinaire. We'll call it.
Why don't we just look on Amazon? There we go. They got a lot of games
Look on
cookbooks
Amazon.
apparently.
No, don't do that. Um. Uh. How about Gaff? Do you have an idea of a recipe or a item of food that you would want to be in this cookbook?
I like to make it clear that I was the one that put in the curry from Persona 5 in our doc.
No, you
Not
cut me
art.
off on that.
Yeah. But it's kind of cheating, but like anything from Persona 5 Strikers, I just want to eat so badly.
Yep.
And it's cheating because they're all real food that exists in
Right.
Japan. Yeah. But what really sells it is all the commentary from the characters when they describe how it tastes. It
Oh
makes
my
me
gosh.
super hungry. I just want to eat it so badly. It makes me want to go back to Japan. But it's interesting because the curry from Persona 5 does exist as a recipe online. You can find it. It's like super duper complicated, and I don't think
Yeah.
I'll ever attempt it. But if you're really into the culinary art, it's there for you. And I bet it tastes delicious.
Yeah, I saved the
Um,
recipe that they had online, and I looked at it. I'm like, this shit looks complicated as fuck, but I'm gonna try and make it one day.
it looks like so much work for like not as much return, but Power to whoever tries it.
I have a suggestion, and this is from Persona 5. I want the recipe for the coffee from the coffee shop in there.
Yeah.
I
I
don't drink
want
coffee, but
no, I want to try that
Me
coffee.
neither.
It sounds legendary, dude. I want that coffee in there. It seems like he does something special with it, and so they just make that. They just sold me on the coffee. I was like, man, I really want it. Funny enough, when I would play it, I would have a mug of coffee right next to me while I was playing Persona 5. So, man, I gotta get back to that game. I kind of just want to play Royal at this point, but
do it.
Do it. Do it.
dude. That's on. It's such a long game. There's so much coming out. Like, I
Even
fell
longer
off
with
of it,
Royal, but
man.
it's still worth it.
I fell off of it, but like, there's so many things. It's like, man, you got to go back and play it. Can't ignore that one. Because when I was on that game, I marathon that. Like, when I played through it, it's like a solid 2 to 3 weeks of just playing, like every single night.
I'm here.
So I'm gonna get back to it. But yeah, I think there's one more that I was thinking of right off the top of my head, but I cannot remember. Eric, do you have any more?
You know, I was like kind of mad that she stole Persona 5 from me, Gaff. But then I looked, and then I would put a lot more, like anything from Monster Hunter. Like if you play Monster Hunter World or well, I guess
the
Rise
big
just
dishes where the cat chefs come up and yeah.
If you guys ever played Final Fantasy 15, like even basic ass toast, they make.
Oh my god,
game.
dude, the food in that game, every single dish in that game, the ramen looked amazing. Like,
yep,
oh
for
my
sure.
gosh.
But I mean, I don't know if you have like any way to set up like if I can like send you pictures to show on stream, but like the Eorzean Cafe for Final Fantasy 14, like in Japan, they actually have an entire cafe around Final Fantasy 14, and like they have like food from like in the game and like food themed around the whole game. I'm trying to look up some stuff, but like they had a FanFest recently for FanFest they had like a cafe at home event where they shared the recipes that you can make at home, and like they had giant beaver croquettes. How do you? I guess
croquet, yeah.
I don't know.
Or croquette, yeah. I believe.
Okay, yeah. Tomberry omelet rice, Moogle honey toast, mud pie chocolate plate. Like they had like a lot of good looking stuff on there, and like I can't cook for shit, but if I could, I would make a lot of this stuff.
Hey, I'm gonna do a window source here. I'm gonna add a window source. I wonder if I can just pull it over.
I'm trying to find the cafe they have at in Japan exactly.
Okay. So let's see. I'm going to. If you want to put.
Okay.
Oh,
sorry. Go. If you want to put like a link in the doc or anything, I can pull it up on the stream.
Sure.
If you have like a link at all.
While you do that, I'll give a shout out to my other item I put on. In Pokemon Gen 4, so Diamond and Pearl, the food for your Pokemon in that game they're called Poffins.
Oh, dude, the Poffins, yeah.
They're basically, I think they're just pastries, like cookies. I guess like macarons. Yeah, you spin them in the batter, you add like whatever berry you want, and they come in like the five colors, and they just look tasty. And it's even better if you watch the cartoon. They look especially tasty in there.
I remember seeing some of them from the cartoon, and I was not disappointed, man. That was some of one of my favorite memories of those little mini games they would put in there. Like, my friends and I would sit there with our styluses, like NRDS, and just like get in on the bottom screen.
You could do it
and
together.
like, yep. You could spin them together and make it like they had a rating system for them too, and it would give you more IV, right? It would give you more stats to your Pokemon boosting.
Something
so
like that,
yeah. No, the Poffins for sure are one of those ones. Again, like you said, anything from Final Fantasy 15, like any of those dishes, I don't know why. Just the most memorable part from that game was that I've come up with a new recipe, and it's like, yes, let's see it, please. Let me think of one. There's the food in. I'm trying to think of one like the sushi sets from what is it? Like a Dragon. always look amazing. I don't know why. They just the way they arrange the bento boxes and things like that always look really cool. So maybe that would be on there, but that's kind of a multiple item, so it might be cheating. Because I know there's more, right? Uh, I could say I could cheat and put like the giant food from Grounded in there, some of it. That would be kind of interesting, right?
Like you feel like aphids or something, or
Yeah, you can cook aphids in the game, but maybe we'll put that on there. Roasted aphid stew or something. Um, yeah, I was just thinking. Oh, uh, pizza from like Lego City. I don't know why, but pizza for some reason from any of the Lego games would be kind of cool to see if you could get that shape like without having the cheese be a certain way because it might be impossible, but it would be interesting to try to pull off.
For sure.
Yeah. If did you put that in the doc, Eric?
Yeah, I'm looking for more like picture. I guess like the first website I put didn't really show really a lot real good, but the second one I put was for the that home recipes they showed off.
Oh, okay. Well, oh, did you put the thing in like the assets or because I was gonna pull it up real quick.
Oh no, in the doc. I put it in the Discord. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Let me get the link real quick because I would think it'd be cool to just kind of spark some interest here. Let me copy the link and I'll open it up. And you can see it on the screen now for audio listeners. Let me get the right window here.
Apparently, it's pretty hard to find the actual menu on a website.
Yeah.
But if I go on Google Images, it shows like the menu basically.
Yeah, so if you're watching on the stream, kind of doing this real time, so bear with me. Let's see. All right. So we have the Final Fantasy Eorzea Cafe, right? It looks like. So is it on the menu then, just in here?
The website you're looking for, the first link.
Yeah, well, just the food from it. I'm looking at the cafe inside the cafe, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's like themed themed around it. It's pretty cool. Trying to look for like the actual menu. It's kind of hard to find apparently. If you just type in Eorzean Cafe menu on Google Images, it should like
Yeah.
you should be able like to find something.
Is there Eorzean Cafe menu?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Let's hopefully we get some. Okay, so I don't know if you're watching the stream, guys, but on here it looks like so it's all in Japanese, and I wish I could read
Yeah.
Japanese, but a lot of these look really cool. There's some alcoholic drinks, I think.
Yeah.
And they look like So we have it over on the right here, like a blood red one. We've got like.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they're themed around. It looks like right here. You would probably know more about that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm tuning in the stream now. Yeah.
So we have the blood red looking one. We have like
Yeah, I think it's based off the jobs in the game. Like, is what it looks like.
So this might be like an Italian soda type thing.
Yeah.
This one
like
here.
That.
Yeah. For audio listeners, these are just like it looks like their drink menu from the Final Fantasy Cafe, and this is this in like Tokyo or?
Yeah, I believe it's in Akihabara. I believe.
Okay.
I have to look that up again, but I'm pretty sure it's over there.
Definitely a bucket list for me at this point.
Oh yeah, I want to go here especially.
Dude, okay, let me look at some of these. There's this like chicken dish, fried dodo Starlight Edition.
Yeah.
You see that? That's and it just looks like fried chicken, right? With some cherry tomatoes and a lemon next to it. So I guess it's like a Christmas kind of looking one, and a black truffle risotto.
Yeah, this is like a Christmas menu or something.
So I wonder. That's interesting. They have Valentine's Day as well. That's funny, man.
Oh yeah, they
With
got
the
like they got
Moogles.
like a lot of stuff based off the.
This chocolate thing, or oh man. Okay, yeah, I'm just getting hungry at this point.
But yeah, I would like maybe we should put something like that. I think there's like an actual cookbook coming out soon. I saw Wario64 tweet about it or something.
Yeah. No, I think so. It's funny when it started off as a cookbook, but I think like it's more of just the foods I want to try
Yeah,
put into like a book, right, and actually be able to make them. So if
For
we're
sure.
thinking about like
Now-
actual recipes, I think the coffee for me goes on there for Persona 5.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, can you go to the second link I sent you real quick?
Yeah,
The
let me-
FanFest at home one.
yeah,
There's
let me pull
one
that up
dish
real
in here.
quick.
Like it looks really good, and I want to try it out.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one too, Ark. And the Tomberry rice or the omelet rice is like the most feasible one that I can make probably. And it looks
Okay,
yeah.
good.
so for audio listeners, we're looking at like the menu proper. It looks like.
No, so what this was is that during FanFest this past year, they had like an event where you can like make these dishes at home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so if you click on the Moogle honey toast,
Okay, dude. Okay, again, for all your listeners, this is like a stack of toast with a ice cream shaped or ice cream shaped like a Moogle, and it's got like what, a strawberry for like the little red thing on top,
yeah,
uh,
this
and
looks
decorated
good.
with berries and frosting. Oh man, ah, dude, I gained at least a couple pounds going to this.
For sure, for sure.
Oh my gosh, man. These kind of things, like video games have always been awesome at making, especially it seems like, and no offense to any other like culture, but like Japanese video games and video game makers always make their food look delicious. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, they care a lot about food.
And you come in here and you look at this and it's like, all right, well, clearly it might just be a cultural thing where it's like, they just, again, Gaff said it, like they just care a lot about presentation, a lot of their food at the very least. Because that, oh, look at this, is like a video. All right, so let me mute
I think
this.
so.
I muted that, but I want to see like, so they're assembling it here on this video, and they're kind of going
Yeah.
through like how you butter up the toast with oil, butter, oil, and honey, then toasting it. There's some, dude. This is
You're
wild.
getting me hungry now too.
Oh man, and you're watching this with me, right?
Yeah.
This is insanity, uh, dude. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip around here to see like further out
Yeah.
and kind of like, okay,
And
so
yeah,
it's fried
since,
pasta noodles with whisker for the whiskers. That's interesting, creative. Ark, or Eric, what are you gonna say?
oh yeah, I was gonna say like uh because of COVID and everything, they couldn't have FanFest in person this year, so that's why they had like all these events and online for I believe the first time. And like I guess technically this for someone who played Final Fantasy 14 for a long time, I never really participated in FanFest until this year because I couldn't really go out and do them. But like
Mhm.
the next FanFest I definitely want to do, like, because they have like a lot of fun events.
Right. Recipe number
And
three.
if they have this food over there, oh, I'm definitely trying it out.
Dude, yeah. Uh, Sky blue dye, which is, I don't quite understand that one.
Yeah,
like a
so that's
bucket.
just like a dye that you can like dye your clothes with. I guess they just made like a little food recipe out of it.
That's
Which
funny.
is pretty funny.
That's
Whipped.
just like a bucket of heavy cream. You're supposed to eat that with something else, right?
I would imagine you dip something in it, right? Like
I hope so, because it's just
Oh,
so
maybe.
rich and fattening.
it says whipped cream, heavy whipping cream, whole milk, blue food coloring, and water. So
Woo!
yeah, that's all that is. Then we have the mud pie chocolate plate. Honestly, this just turned into the Eorzea Cafe tour. But yeah, just harking back to what I was saying is like the presentation on this is so spot on for like what I expect from those RPGs as well. So
Oh yeah.
I think anything from those games, is there anything else you wanted to look at this? Like, we'll go through a little bit more here. Ardbert,
No, I think that's just it. I think they had just the
this one's
drink,
kind of
and that was
cool.
about it.
The Ardbert, the first's warrior of light, which the reference is missed on me. So
Yeah, I get the reference.
okay, and I'm sure Final Fantasy fans out there get it as well. But
for sure.
Okay, so all right, so for actual recipes, I know we got way down the rabbit hole for food, but and I'm so excited. I really want to go to Japan now for that alone.
Yeah. Oh, there was
among
one more I wanted
numerous
to add
other
in
things.
there.
Okay. Well,
The
add one
dubious
more.
food from Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay, yeah. What does that recipe look like, though? Right? What does that? Are you just throwing things in there? Is that like
Yeah, maybe.
everything in the kitchen sink? I don't know if you heard of that, right? Like where you're just taking all your leftovers and throwing them in like a bake, right? And then
Sure.
to try to get it to whatever works together that you can. Of course, it never turns out good, and you end up with.
I think there was like an actual Breath of the Wild cookbook, and that was one of the recipes. I just don't know how you do that or not.
You gotta imagine it's like maybe eggs or something, right? Like
Yeah, I gotta assume it has to be actually edible, you know?
right. I mean, you put like peppers or something in there, and like you color it green. Has to have food coloring, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get the censored look to it though, because it's like I don't know why they had to censor the dubious food, right?
Yeah.
It's that inappropriate. You couldn't even see it. Oh, what's one more that I was thinking of? The bananas. I want to try the bananas from Breath of the Wild, but
Just bananas.
yeah, the bananas that the Yiga clan was just obsessed with. I was always just like, man, I need a banana right now. I also need the giant meat from Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter World. God, there's
Cup
a
noodles
bunch
from
of
Final
other
Fantasy
ones.
15, right?
Yeah.
Cup noodles, definitely. For
Cup
sure.
noodles, yes, the Nissan cup noodles, and there's not much to that one. It's just cup noodles. I was trying to think of like, okay, let's think of favorite games. Was there anything in I guess there wasn't anything in Nier, right? Because they're robots, so they didn't eat anything.
Not really, yeah.
Did Assassin's Creed? Is there like food or drink from there that you can think of?
Yeah,
that you
there's no
want in
food
there?
in AC. You hunt animals, but you don't look at the
Right.
food.
I mean, you could go with the grog, right, from Valhalla, like that they drink
Sure.
from the horns. If you're into that, yeah.
I don't know.
I
When I
guess it's
think
just
of
harder to think
video
of.
game, yeah, when I think of video game foods, a lot of it comes from like the Japan centric,
Yeah,
Japanese video
Yeah.
games.
Mm-hmm.
or Minecraft. But I mean, I guess some of the food in Minecraft looks tasty in a way. Like the
But it's
cake,
just normal
the vanilla
food,
cake.
right? Right? Or it's just like
Yeah,
I guess you could make it a square, right? You could come up with a recipe to make it like cubic.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we have the cube cake from Minecraft. We have Persona 5 coffee shop coffee because for some reason it looks awesome. We have I'm gonna put in there Monster Hunter World anything, giant plate of that food. As for recipe goes, the actual recipe I can't tell you, and anything from the Eorzean Cafe, and that is the X Interact cookbook. It is official. Unless Gaff, you have anything to add that you can think of?
Persona 5 curry. The recipe's out there if you want to try it.
Oh, hey, and again, another Japanese one I'll mention right before we go. What was the cafe from Kingdom Hearts 3?
Oh, Remy's. I can't remember.
It was
Remy's.
Ratatouille, right?
Yeah.
Well, he made some unique dishes. I can't remember what they were, but I feel like anything from there would be kind of weird tasting, but also surprisingly good. So, well, and if you're okay with having a rat prepare your food, which is fine, and that will be in the recipe when we call for it. So, as like one of the ingredients, you must have a chef rat to make this, as well as the palicos from Monster Hunter World. You got to include that.
Yep.
Anyways, moving on. That is officially our X to Interact cookbook. Just a hodgepodge of video game food we want to eat, really.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I know, right? Moving on to something a little more personal. But we never asked the question. Sorry, real quick. Which of the ones out of those would you guys prefer to eat the most?
I'll have the sky blue. Just pour it straight into my mouth, knock me out for the day.
That, like I said, that
Oh,
Mungo honey
man.
toast looks good, but like, I really want to try the Persona 5 curry. That's the one, like,
Yeah.
the biggest
Yeah.
one.
If someone could make that for me, I'd be so delighted.
Oh, I forgot the poffins. I'm gonna include poffins in there as well because that's the one I would want to try the most.
Just chuck them into your mouth.
Yeah, they're like little. How big do you think those are? They can't be that big, right?
Like snacks. Little
Maybe
snacks.
like
Yeah.
a size of a cookie or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
Yeah.
bigger.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, some berries in there. Let's go. I'm very hungry now. Kicking off the, we'll just call it on the doc here. I have it Canadian Insight, but it's really just an interview with our friend / co-host Gaff here, just to kind of see like where the differences lie between like my understanding of how things are around where you live and the actual reality that is there. So I guess I'll just kick it off. The first question I have here, and it might be a little bit crass, but is poutine actually as popular as I'm led to believe?
It's not like poutine is something that everyone is hankering for
Mm-hmm.
at every hour of the day, but you won't find a single person that doesn't like poutine because it's made of all of its ingredients. Out of its three ingredients, they're all delicious. It's fries, gravy, and cheese curds. The cheese curds part is very important. You can't just sprinkle cheese and melt it over. You need them as curds because when you bite into them, they squeak a little bit.
Gotta get the squeaky
It's part of the
cheese.
charm. Yeah.
uh,
But yeah, poutine is delicious. Um, we're gonna move on to the next question because I
yeah,
have a ranking.
yeah. Real quick with that. I wanted to dive a little more into this one because I feel like a common thing that people think of as a national dish, a national favorite. Um, as my ignorance would lead me to believe, right? Um, are there different types of poutine, and do you have a favorite type if there are different types? Or is it
The
just
classic one.
yeah.
Yeah, you got the classic one that everyone somewhat knows about at least, which is like the cheese, gravy, and fries. And then from that point on, you're free to customize. A lot of people put ground beef in theirs. On the veggie side, you got like sour cream and spring onions and tomato. Um, you go to Montreal, I mean, they got poutine for everyone. They got and any ingredient you can think of, it's been in a poutine somewhere in that city. So you got options.
So it's more like a style of cooking then, I guess. Right. In kind of a
Basically.
sense, right? Yeah, like a
Yeah.
subgenre of food. So that's really cool, man. I would love to come and try all of them because I love poutine. The classic at least.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. Eric, if you have any questions, feel free to interject at any point. I just that you can think of, and I'll go on to the next one if you just want to think of them. But let me know, man.
Oh,
Yeah, just going on to the
oh,
next one for now.
oh, wait, before you go on to the next one. Okay, so here's how the tiers go.
Okay.
You have your shitty poutine from McDonald's. Not that I don't like their fries, but it's
Wait.
just really like low effort, low grade poutine.
Okay.
It's like a special menu item, but it's really not that great.
Mm-hmm.
They got All Right, which is you guys ever heard of New York Fries at the restaurant or the fast food chain? New
No.
York Fries, misleadingly, was founded in Canada. It's a Canadian chain.
Okay.
It's fast food poutine. It's as good as you get as far as like mall cafeteria poutine goes. Um, then you have Great. So there's this small shop um, in this town across from Ottawa called Le Patisserie. It's really small, but it's actually pretty famous, and they make some bomb poutine for a great price. For a great price. And obviously you have the amazing tier. Anywhere in Montreal, you can't go wrong. And that's my poutine talk.
Hey, I'm happy to hear about it because at one point in my life, I am going to try all of that poutine. Um, you heard it here first. Anywhere in Montreal is the best poutine. That is the definitive decision.
Montreal, Quebec. Montreal, Quebec. There's more than one Montreal out there in the world.
Gotcha. Good distinction there. Okay, so a little more serious of a question we kind of get into. So what I have here is, why are video games more expensive there in your knowledge or opinion, um, and are they actually more expensive contextually? So, given taxes and other things that may play a role in that, and do you think that because of that, it's a larger barrier of entry for people who live in Canada to get into gaming because of the higher price and ask that it requires of folks like you?
So the simple reason is the exchange rate between Canada and US. For a lot of the early 2000s and 2010s, sorry, the 2000s and early 2010s, the exchange rate between our countries was pretty much at parity. And then our economy hit a downturn because of our reliance on the oil industry, in my opinion, a lot of people's opinion. And so around the time where the Xbox One, PS4 consoles came out, video games turned from $59.99 to $69.99, and then mid-generation turned to $79.99, and then with select games from Sony, for example, now they're $89.99, and that's really a direct conversion, honestly, from US to Canada, and that's fair. What's not fair is when sometimes our dollar does go up, but game prices don't change. And the reason that happens is because if people keep buying them, then they have no reason to change it back.
Sure.
And unless the day comes when we're back at parity, or for some reason Canada's dollar is greater than the US's, I don't see it ever going back to $60 a game.
I think just in general, right? I don't see it even at a US dollar going back to $60 a game. Because it's what people will pay for it now at the $70 asking price for new, talking current gen games, right?
Yeah.
For new ones, at least most of them nowadays going forward. But I just don't think in general you'll see that, and so you're probably correct in that thinking, which sucks. But I mean, granted, hopefully, cost of living starts matching some of these things and make it easier to get into something like gaming. You said $90, man. Like, what is that
So
contextually? Like,
so you mentioned cost of living.
right.
What are your state's minimum wages?
So here in Utah, I think it's like 8.25 an hour.
Really?
Which is
Okay. Wow.
super low for an average national standard. But also the cost of living might be a little less than most states too. Nowadays, it's hard to find a job that'll pay that little, is what I'll say realistically. Um, Anything you'll find probably pays 9.50, 10 plus an hour to start. So that's kind of where I personally rank like the minimum wage here, because I haven't seen a job that pays anything less than 10 in a while for entry level. So I don't know. What about you, Eric? Around you, what's minimum wage?
Yeah, I know. Literally, once August starts, it's to go up to $13 an hour in
Oh
Quebec.
wow.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's where it should be.
Cost of living, I can't really. I'm like, can't really tell you that. I'm not that good with the numbers. I live at home with my parents still, so they like mainly take the bulk of that, and I help out here and there.
Right.
Yeah, but I know like I know Connecticut does like have like a lot of like tax laws and stuff like that, so that kind of like factors into the high minimum wage, I guess. And I think by I can't remember what year it was exactly, but the minimum wage is supposed to go up every year until it reaches $15, I believe.
So
Okay, that's reasonable. Yeah.
you would say, so what would you say is like an average job at entry level? Say someone's coming out of high school is going to get in Connecticut. what would
Yeah,
you
it's
think
tough
that you've
to.
seen, right? Like just last time you looked, I guess.
I don't know, cause what I did, I then went to like a grocery store, and then I got referred to my current job by my parents,
Right.
and that's like how where I'm at now. And I can't really tell you about what the normal high school person would do, because
No,
some people would
sure.
probably go to college, some probably
Right.
would go working, and I think it would just depend on what's hiring right now,
So
which is a lot due to the
yeah,
pandemic. But
right.
So
So
for
under $10
Ontario,
an hour though, right? Sorry.
what was that?
You
yeah.
would say probably safely under $10 an hour, right?
I need to look up what the minimum wage is right now. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Um while you're doing that, Gaff, go ahead with what you're saying.
I think since 2018, minimum wage in Ontario, our province, has been 14.25. As far as cost of living goes, I mean, it really varies. Like
Right.
Toronto is one of the most overpriced cities, like in North America, that and Vancouver. Um, and my suburban town isn't so cheap either. Um, so I mean, you work a full day and then you can maybe afford a game, right? But when you're living on your own, you shouldn't be spending all your entire paycheck on games.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's tight.
So
Yeah, so I
that
have the information here real quick.
okay.
So right now it's $12 minimum wage here in Connecticut. Then
Okay.
on August 1st, it's gonna go up to 13. Next year, July 1st, it's gonna be 14, and then June 1st, 2023 is when it hits 15.
Okay.
Yeah, reasonable.
So that's a lot better. That's a lot better than here.
Yeah,
But
but
again, cost of living
I
factors
feel like
into it, right?
I feel like that's probably like a lot higher here.
Yeah. Um so interestingly enough, the housing market around here is like crazy. It's so expensive to get into a house around here just because I guess location, right? And you know,
Yeah,
the vistas here are pretty nice. So I guess that might play into it. But going back to what we were talking about, so realistically, it is kind of stringent on people to be buying games just willy nilly, right? Because of that. So that's interesting because it's almost that way here, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like we kind of take our expenses in a different way, right? Like we take our hits in, let's say, healthcare, right? Which, if
True.
I'm right, so yeah, we take our hits in healthcare and like prescriptions and in that part of the cost of living. So, but it sounds like leisure activities might be more of an ask in Canada, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, digital goods. I mean, just like last month, we now have taxes on digital goods now. So services like Netflix subscriptions are now can now be taxed.
is that a more
Um,
recent development?
yeah, like last month.
Wow, wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty huge because that's what I was wondering as well. So like they tax before it wasn't taxed to get like a subscription service then.
Yep.
Hmm. Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
And they still haven't changed like the taxation rates then, or is that higher?
Not to my knowledge.
Economics aside, I think just out on the whole, that's kind of interesting the differences there, right? So I guess it's more of a balance of where your costs are coming from for living, and I guess for you guys it's just more through a direct route of the taxation than after the fact like it is here. Which we do have taxes is like 20% on average for like a single person here. So um, that's I don't know. That's crazy to me. Like to even think about $90 for a game is baffling. But yeah,
I know.
um,
Let's move on to more fun things.
yeah, more fun things. All right, so I have here like what's are common places you go to for like fun things. The names of them because I think it'll be important to kind of get that that context because there's some interesting names that even just a little earlier you were mentioning. what was it? New York fries is what you're saying?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a fast food chain. I don't know if I
Right.
agree
No,
with
no,
it.
not a leisure activity, but the interesting name thing was what I was trying to get at. Like, what are some, I guess, maybe uniquely Canadian places that you might go to, or unique in your area, you think? But let's say like a movie theater. Do you guys have Cinemark and things like that up there?
Well, we have Cineplex and we have Landmark.
Or okay.
um,
Uh,
Cineplex is the mainstream theater that 9 out of 10 Canadians will go to. It's pretty pricey. Landmark Cinemas is the smaller chain. It's a way better deal, and you have reclining seats. The only downside is that no IMAX. Um, Otherwise, uh, people my age, they would go chill in downtown Toronto, which I
mhm.
think it's highly overrated, and really only go there to go to bougie, expensive restaurants with your friends, which sometimes I've done that a
Right.
couple of times. And
Yeah.
um, but on the nature side, there's a city called Hamilton. It's the waterfall capital of the province, if not the country. I'm not sure. Lots of fun waterfalls, um, and most of them are within distance of like very short hikes, so they're very easy to enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, in Ontario, or at least like in my area, um, it's very multicultural. So like so many different foods are available to you. Lots of good ramen, lots of good.
Oh,
And I think we lost him.
Sorry, my Discord exploded. I'm back.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We're back to normal. No worries. Lots of good ramen is where you left off, though.
Yeah, and lots of good burgers. Like there's this bougie burger place called Burger Priest. It's expensive, but it's good. Um,
I'm sorry, burger what?
Burger Priest. Yeah.
Okay, so they're
Um,
holding burger sermons or like
it's not religious. Don't worry.
No, I know, I was just making a bad joke.
In Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada, that many people seem to forget about. Everyone thinks Toronto is the capital, but it's not. um, in Ottawa, there's lots of fun things to do besides walking around the Parliament building, where the Prime Minister and the House of Commons make all their government decisions. You can walk around the Rideau Canal. You can even like kayak on it. Lots of fun parks, national parks that you can hike in, like Gatineau Park. It's awesome. Um, but overall, yeah, lots of culture, lots of different cultures, and that's why I like to say that there was really no. I don't think there's really a Canadian culture. Some people complain about that and are like really defensive about it because they love comparing themselves to Americans. So
Sure.
that in defense of themselves, they like to say they're protective of their Canadian culture, but there's no culture.
Yeah.
Our culture is a mishmash of everyone else's culture, which is
Well,
good in its own way.
and it's similar to in the USA here. It's I don't know if there's really necessarily. I mean, there is certain things that are common tropes of America, but I feel like it's a similar situation. It's such a melting pot, especially when you get into like the East Coast, where all of that is just kind of defined by each state and each like subsect, and I feel like there's no definitive American, um, at least
Guns,
natively thing. Like
barbecues,
yeah, barbecues, baseball,
football.
football, American football, right? Yeah, I don't know. There are certain things that are definitely American, but I also feel like it's less than people would like to put off as far as differences between that and like many other countries around the world that are in a similar situation, lifestyle wise. So, but there's a lot of outdoors things that sounds really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
We living in Utah, I'm not into the outdoors at all, but I can appreciate a good vista when I see one. And we have a lot of places that we go hiking, um, within an hour, man. And you can go to like this, to like waterfalls and stuff. And so
Nice.
that's cool to see that's the case up there as well. Probably way more pretty up there if I'm gonna guess. Um, So I guess moving on. Yeah, I was like, I guess on here, I don't know if this is Eric. Did you add this on here?
I had this question because I
Okay, you
wanted to
had it.
talk about it.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So we have on here shout outs for notable Canadian shows, entertainment that you just want to let listeners know about real quick.
So very few pieces of entertainment take place in Canada, but a lot of things are filmed in Canada because we have some very good tax credits for filmmakers here that make it very much more appealing to film here. But so we do have a Canadian sitcom that actually does take place in Toronto called Kim's Convenience. It's very good. It's on Netflix, and it stars one of their stars is Simu Liu, who is currently playing Shang-Chi in the MCU.
Oh, okay.
Um, and these things have count, but these were filmed in Toronto and other parts of Ontario, like The Boys, Handmaid's
Mhm.
Tale, and pretty much any CW show, like Arrow and Flash. They're all filmed in Vancouver.
Okay.
Um, yeah, lots of good Canadian-made content.
So
So shout out.
have you ever run on a set of one of those? Have you ever seen them filming around?
Nothing ever famous.
Hmm.
When I was in school in Hamilton, back when school was in person, um, there'd be like sometimes a notice taped to the front of our student houses saying like, "Hey, we're going to be filming this show on this street, so it's going to be closed down for a bit. Just a heads up." So I've never seen anything major, but it happens.
Okay. Yeah, and in Utah here we have a few famous properties there. I believe Nightmare on Elm Street was one of filmed here.
Whoa, nice.
Uh, there's High School Musical that was filmed here as well. All of that,
Really?
which famous for some people, for a lot of people who are into that. But
Bop bop bop, straight to the
there
top.
people in Moab with like the red rocks, the arches and stuff. Um, you see a lot of desert filming that's done down here, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of on my side of that, but um, I don't know. That's awesome, man. And never mind like the myriad of talented actors and musicians that come from Canada. That you're like, of course they're from Canada. Like there's so much talent
Wayne
coming out
Dion,
of Canada. So
Wayne Dion, Shawn Mendes,
Ryan
um,
Reynolds, I think.
Justin Bieber. Yeah,
Yep.
uh,
It
well,
just
that's a good talent.
one of my favorite
Drake.
bands. Yeah, dude. Yeah. So a ton of talent. Is just like
Sorry, what
really
was your favorite
notable
band?
talent. Avril Lavigne, right, is from Canada
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
So uh, I don't know, just some really creative, a lot of creatives coming out of there, a lot of popular entertainment that you kind of view comes from like that melting pot. So it's really cool. That's notable, like as far as it goes for entertainment. So you mentioned earlier it being like a cultural like melting pot in the area, but like I heard that there's a strong French influence in Canada. And is it more just on the eastern side then, or how's it for you when you look at that?
You say East, but it's only in one province,
So it's
really,
Quebec,
and that's
right?
just Quebec.
Okay.
And I don't know how much you hear, but Quebec, there's always talks of Quebec wanting to separate from Canada, be its own country.
Mm.
Um, and personally, I'm okay with it, but a lot of people aren't. Um, the French presence in Canada, I would say, is almost non-existent
Hmm.
because it's so isolated to Quebec. Um, However, every kid in Canada must learn French in school from grade 1 to grade 8. Oh, sorry, grade 9. And then after that, French is optional.
But you at that
Um,
point you know a lot then. So um
no, because it really doesn't stick well.
okay.
Um, and I mean, I've forgotten. I can read. Uh, I can kind of read French. I can speak some basic phrases, but I'm not fluent whatsoever. Even people that go the extra mile and take grade 12 French, they forget it too because it's just the problem is it's just not used. It's
Right.
only used if you're in Quebec or if you're in a high level government position. And here's my take: you can the the high government positions in Canada are exclusive only to people that can claim they're fluent in English and French. Which, in my opinion, it it's almost elitist because it only the good jobs, the only people that can get these good jobs are people that can afford to learn a second language. I
Mm-hmm.
think it cuts off a lot of people unnecessarily and for a completely arbitrary reason. Because why would you need to learn French in the middle of Alberta, right? Where almost it's a single digit percentage of the population even bothers to know about French.
So then it's not representative of the entire country then, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So
And but it's all part of the government's kind of their way to appease Quebec and make them
right.
feel part of it, which is fair. Like, I can't fault them for wanting to preserve their culture, but I just don't agree about these regulations about forcing all of our hand.
Yeah.
That is my hot take, and I've had disagreements with my friend in real life about this a lot.
Yeah. It's probably a really heated thing. It's just like any other politics, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's important to people on both sides. So that is an interesting perspective because for us, it's just like Democrat or Republican, right? you know,
Yeah.
and like what is there to it? They're all just talking heads at the end of the day, in my opinion. But um, I'm independent in that sense. But that's interesting to see that other side of it for sure. Um, where that part of it plays such a big role, even though because you have the pomp and circumstance at that point, right? So, um, yeah, man. I'd be interested to learn more about that too. But just in the interest of time, I think I should move a little bit further in here onto something definitely, definitely more light, right? Or white, if you would. Uh, okay, so bagged milk. All right, is it a thing where you live? Because I was looking it up earlier, and I've heard that it's like more of a thing in certain places in Canada and less of a thing in other places. And do you have bagged milk or do you have carton of milk?
I have bagged milk. Bagged milk. I
Okay,
think I drink like regular whole milk, right? Like 1%, 2%, and those
yeah,
usually come in bags. But it's only a thing in Ontario, really, not really outside of that province.
okay,
And even still, we still have cartons of milk if you really want it.
sure.
And like things like almond milk and soy milk, those all come in cartons.
But the
So
standard milk then comes in the bags. Now, this
I
plastic
suppose.
is it a durable like plastic or how's that work?
How we do it is you go to the grocery store, you buy a bag, and it comes with 3 bags of milk. You put the bag of milk in a separate carton that you buy, like sorry, a plastic jug that you buy. You slip it in, and then you take a pair of scissors and you snip off the corner of the bag, so you can pour out the milk into your cup of tea or your coffee.
Okay.
And the size of the hole matters because if you cut it too big, it's gonna make a mess.
So I envision a situation where you have this bag of milk, right? And you hit a sharp corner and it just rips open the bag of milk and the milk goes everywhere, right? And
I've
so
done it once in my life only.
okay,
But yeah.
okay, so it's a thing, right? At least for some people and maybe for more clumsy people, I imagine. But I imagine that like crying over spilt milk takes kind of a whole new meaning because you're just the whole thing is gone, right?
Yeah.
Where you for us we're typical to cartons, and I'm sure somewhere in America they make the bag milk because people want to order it and see. I'm sure, but with a carton you spill a little bit and you're like, oh man, let me get a towel and clean that up. But you cut open the bag of milk, it's just gone. It's just gone at
It's
that
like a
point.
water balloon, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
trying to stave the wound. You're trying to keep the blood inside the body at that point. um,
Yeah.
no, it's just that was kind of a funny thing that I looked up that was kind of a idiosyncrasy between our cultures there. But um, last but not least, I want to do something something uniquely Canadian we may not know about. I put in here. I guess the currency is waterproof. Now, is it made of something different than like the U.S. currency, which is a mix of cotton and linen? Um,
Um, our paper bills are purely plastic. There's some polymer, right? So they're
mhm.
very hard to rip, and they're definitely waterproof. Also, we have like our coins. Our
Mhm.
coins go up to the $2 denomination, so that's definitely waterproof. But, yeah, I like our money. I think it's pretty and
Yeah,
durable.
I think so too. I think it's definitely a better look. Eric, wait, you've been kind of quiet. What's your take? Is American money better or is Canadian money better? That's what I want to know from
uh,
you. Choose carefully.
now that I think about it, have I ever seen a Canadian dollar? I need to look this up. I don't think I ever have.
Like our loony coin, they're
Don't
pretty
think I've
cool.
ever seen one.
I
The toonie
haven't.
coin's even cooler.
Yeah, I have not seen the actual like the extent of the coins. Right. I've definitely seen the bills and I've seen some of the coins, like the smaller denominations, but I've not seen a $2 denomination one. So that's kind of cool. Maybe I
Hmm.
can maybe I can bring that up here for the stream. Um,
Oh wait, I have my wallet's right there. Bam,
okay.
bam
Yeah.
for a
Hey.
sec.
Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. While he's doing that, I'll remind you guys to go check out our Twitter. Again, that's all caps X to interact underscore. We're also posting this on YouTube after the fact if you miss it. For audio listeners, if you want to check out some of the Eorzea and Cafe, please go and do that X to interact on YouTube.
Okay, you see this? This is a loony.
Okay, for
Um,
audio listeners, it's like an octagonal coin, kind of.
and it's called a loony because there's a loon on that face of the coin.
Okay, now this is probably my ignorance coming through, but what is a loon?
It's a bird.
Okay, all right.
And I
Uh,
don't think I have a toonie on me, fortunately.
okay, so that what denomination was that? Was that the dollar coin then?
That's a dollar coin. Oh, I do have a toonie. So as you can guess, it's a $2
A
coin.
$2 for the and
Uh,
Oh, interesting.
it's a
so
polar bear.
it's so
Or
this
it's a,
for you
bear.
guys listening, it's a bear and it's a like a silver coin with a golden center. Um, I gotta say,
And
man, it looks better.
on the reverse of all our coins is the queen.
Yep, Queen Elizabeth, correct?
Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah.
Yep. So that's awesome, man. I don't know. I'm gonna say definitively. I think like aesthetics alone. If we're talking aesthetics, I think Canadian kind of wins. It's just more appealing. But if we're looking at like if it makes sense, I don't know. I don't know because maybe that's just my American brain talking. Because we got denominations. You have a dollar coin, which we kind of have. It's like a Sacagawea is what it is. It's just the golden.
Oh,
It's like a golden circle, and it's a dollar denomination. But we also have a 50-cent piece, which is just like a big silver piece, which nobody uses those anymore. So the common things like
yeah.
dimes, nickels, pennies are most common, which are, if you're not aware, dimes 10 cents, 5 cents for nickels, and pennies for 1 cent.
We phased out the penny like years ago.
Really?
So yeah, no more 1 cent. No more
Okay.
1 cent coins.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
funny, man. It's weird to think about it in that sense. Go ahead, Ark.
I know we used to have a $2 bill, and I have one right here, but it's super faded out.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's seen better days, I guess.
So we have dollar bill version of $2. You have coin version, which is weird to me. This the idea of having a you call it a toonie, correct?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
Looney Tunes is what we're going for 1 and 2, or
I
okay,
guess, I
okay,
guess.
okay. To if you wanna be crass about it, which I just did, but so Looney and Toonie, is there like because the loon is a bird and then Toonie is represents $2 or what?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so Canadian currency wins in aesthetics and the baffling contest,
Yeah.
because I don't know. Maybe it's just more fancy and I can't understand it. But so like for dollar bill denominations, what's there? Is it just like the standard 1, 5, 10?
Well, we skipped the $1 bill because we have a coin for that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we have $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, and from that point on, it's pretty rare to have a.
Okay.
I think there is a $1,000 bill, but it's rare.
I think the highest ours goes is a 500.
Yeah.
And I don't think you'll ever see that one. I think mostly you'll see the Benjamins for 100, and then most common is like a 20. So
Mhm.
interesting though. Like ours is made of cotton and linen, which is like fiber and cotton together. And yours is waterproof. Definitely a better design, I think, on the whole. Maybe built to last a little better, much like I think the bagged milk is recyclable, right?
Is that
Yeah.
through bill?
Yeah.
Yep. The mark there is.
Huh.
And also, this is Sir Wilfrid Laurier, who's a former prime minister. And here we have the Canada arm, because we built that. And if you put like a UV light on our dollar bill, you can see like something cool, which I don't have.
Oh, so it's like a way to like for counterfeiting, right? A counterfeit measure.
I guess so. I guess so.
I think that might do it for the interview. If you have anything more to add, Gaff, please go ahead.
I got some quick fun facts, and I got something else.
Go ahead, man.
I will say, one, civilization pretty much stops an hour north from where I live, so basically Toronto. After that, it's just forests and like sparse towns with like your stereotypical rednecks for the most part. But they're still nice. They're still really great. Canada, very different from coast to coast. All the way from Vancouver to Prince Edward Island. We got mountains. We got the Rockies. Wait, those are mountains. We got our Great Lakes. Lots of forests and tundra up north. We had a World War II military unit called the Devil's Brigade, who were very famous. In World War II, Canadians were very instrumental in D-Day, another step into gaining our independence from the Crown. Canadian geese are frequent year-round except for winter, and they're not as vicious as the internet makes them sound, but they will hiss at you and they shit a lot.
I've ran into some violent geese, so hopefully they're nice.
I've never had a bad experience with geese, but that's just me. And then to bring it to a more serious topic, so a lot of people have this image that Canada is like nice and stuff, and that they're like one of the greatest countries in the world, but that cannot be farther from the truth. Not only because of some like, like typical stuff like politics and taxation and quality of life and whatnot, but we have a huge Indigenous peoples problem. I don't know if you guys heard in the news, but we've been finding bodies of children, Indigenous children, under former residential school sites.
Really?
Yeah. Do you guys know what residential schools are?
There's like elementary schools here. I don't know if that's like.
Residential schools are basically re-education camps for Indigenous people. They were a very big thing up until the mid 1900s, so like not that long ago. They took Indigenous people from their families and their homes, and they put them into these classrooms, and they forced them to turn away from being savages and into what they believed was a normal Canadian. Had to shave their head, learn a new language, and if they couldn't follow the rules, then they would be beaten, and often they would die, as we see from these mass unmarked graves. And so after that first gravesite was found, it just blew up, and they've been finding more bodies from other sites. And even though the Canadian government formally apologized in 2006, I believe, to the Indigenous peoples, there's still decades of work to be done to somewhat make up for it. And Canada Day was on July 1st, and the internet loved to spread the hashtag of cancel Canada Day. And I'm of the opinion that you shouldn't cancel Canada Day because no country is good or bad, no matter which one you look at.
Sure.
However, is I think it's fair to say to not pop off at a party because especially this year there's some pretty heavy things to think about, a lot of things to rethink about the place that you live in, because people make the argument that, oh, it's the past and we shouldn't have to pay for the sins of our ancestors. Well, guess what? A lot of this stuff is still happening today. People are still discriminating against Indigenous people and not treating them as the Canadians that they are, because guess what? They were here before you, before any of us,
Sure.
and we took their land, and they still don't have clean water on their reservations some of the times, and they're still being discriminated in terms of like doctors misdiagnosing them because they just don't give them the attention that they need. And it's a very real issue today, and a lot of work needs to be done. And that's my piece.
Yeah, just on a whole, don't discriminate and don't be shitty, like in general. Like it's just, I feel like more and more you're seeing this where it should have been the case the whole time, but everyone deserves to be treated like a human, like everyone else. We're all the same. So like, at least in my opinion, it doesn't. We all have our unique qualities, but we're all human at the end of the day. So just stop being shitty. Like that doesn't make any sense, man. You're seeing that kind of cultural upheaval here in America too. So it's not uncommon to see discrimination. Just it rears its ugly head in different forms, I guess, in different places. It's unfortunate to see, man. But awesome to see though that we can people who meet on the internet like you and me can just get along when we have the conversation, right? And that's what this is kind of all about, is to getting to know you, getting some perspective, so I can be less ignorant when I'm talking to you, or I can take the time to appreciate just another human being who has different qualities than me, and it's just they're another human, so let's just be good to each other is kind of what I'm trying to get at. But I think that'll do it for the segment, as heavy an ending as it is. But it was really cool to get some insight, man. Hopefully we can get more sprinkled throughout here. And I know it's a longer episode, guys, so thanks for bearing with me. Eric, do you have anything to mention? Any questions? Final parting words for that segment, and then we'll get out of here.
No, I think I'm all good on my end here.
Okay. Also, I'd like to point out we have Star Wars shirts.
Oh,
Uh,
I didn't even realize.
yeah.
Oh, I don't.
It's my camera.
I wore red and white because it's Canada.
Words of wisdom. And look, this is another thing, man. This is something, video games bring us all together and remind us that we're all human. So go out, play some games with some friends. Please, if you're watching, my suggestion to you, this is like kind of an outro I want to do, is it's called Show Me the Exit. I don't want to make a brief suggestion. Mine is just reach out to someone on the internet. You never know who you're going to find. Never know. It could be a great conversation. Be open, have an open ear, and be willing to be accepting of certain things you might not be comfortable with. But get out of your comfort zone there. That's going to be my suggestion for something to do for this week. Do you guys have something that you want to suggest that maybe people aren't doing enough of, or you think you need more spotlight on? And then I guess we can go.
I don't know. I think I've got on my soapbox.
Yeah, I think you were on definitely on the soapbox. Eric, I was just because I wanted to do that because I know it kind of would reach that point, and we lo and behold, we did get to that point. But it's really cool to see that insight. Eric, do you have something? It could be anything, like a book that you want someone to watch, like a movie, maybe go on a hike or something,
Nothing like that. I would just I don't know how to phrase this, but I guess like in the words of Paris Lilly on Twitter, like always like do you guys follow Paris on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Like he posts like a lot of motivational, like I guess speeches, quote unquote, I guess if you call it that, where um like I kind of like want to echo what he's saying, like be comfortable with yourself, try to branch out and do new things too. Like I'm kind of guilty of this too. Like I've wanted to like try to find a way into the gaming industry for like a long time, but I never really acted on it. And like
Same.
this podcast has been like really helping me out with that. It's been helping me like speak better because I really like was like scared of public speaking and stuff like that. But like being on here has been made me more comfortable. And so like if try to break out of your comfort zone is all I'm saying. If you want to do something, go do it.
Yeah, man. Get out there and do it. Whatever. If it's recording a YouTube video or whatever, all it takes is, I don't know, a laptop and some motivation. Like
For sure.
at the end of the day, we're only what our actions make of us. So
Yeah.
make the best of
You
it,
don't
man.
need you don't need expensive equipment to make a YouTube video.
Right.
Like right now, I'm using a phone as a camera, and like the only thing I really bought was this mic and boom arm, which weren't really that expensive. So
Right. Um, and on that
now, if
note,
you have nice equipment, that'll help
right.
even more.
Yeah, that's a good start, man. It doesn't take much but effort. And just effort in general, I guess, on the like on the whole, right, is a suggestion. Make an effort, whether it be to reach out, like I said, or to get out of your comfort zone. It's been nice talking to you guys. It's been awesome getting to know more about you and your culture, Gaff, and some great things and some things to give us from perspective. We made some awesome recipes here. We kind of googled at the food. If you guys want to see any of this, make sure you check out the YouTube X to Interact. We post every Tuesday. The VOD goes up. We try to stream every Sunday and Monday. That's kind of in flux a little bit because schedules or whatever. But we always post on Tuesday on YouTube. Follow us for updates on Twitter at X to Interact _. That's all caps, X to Interact. I don't know if that matters or not, but we're always posting things on there. We do daily tweets, and we'd love to hear from you. So give us a shout out at x2interactpodcast@gmail.com. We'll read your emails live if you send them. So be sure to make some suggestions, questions. Obviously, within reason, we'll read it on air. But I've been Steven, your host for this episode. I can't wait to see you guys next week. This has been X to Interact for Gaff.
See ya.
And Eric. And we'll see you guys. Wait, go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to I want to shout out other podcasts that shout us
Oh,
out
yes.
on Twitter earlier today.
Oh,
Yeah, just fuck, why can't I remember their name right now? I feel
Pixel
so
Play
bad.
podcast, correct?
Pixel Play podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
thanks.
Go check
Yeah,
them
Pixel
out.
Play podcast. You guys are doing some cool stuff out there. I'm sorry for forgetting it. It's like the heat of the moment right now, but you guys
It's-
are doing cool stuff. Thanks for the shout out, man.
Yeah, Pixel Play podcast. Thank you so much. Hey, let us know if you're if you watch this and you see. Let us know if you want to do some guest work. We'd be happy to. I'm sure have you guys on and kind of cross promote here. Get some love going around for a small podcast because it is podcast appreciation month. So check some new people out. You never know what you'll find. This has been X to Interact. We will see you guys next week. And bye.
Bye.